Okay, Josh Keegan, Adam Goff, 6 rounds, 8 minutes around.
First one on the clock.
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Okay, being a man.
Oh.
What do you think it means to be a man in today's world?
I think that's a really interesting one. I think it's very topical for me at the moment. I've just had my first child, it's 8 weeks old, and the amount of comments that I get about, and my brother's in the same boat, similar boat, the amount of comments we get about the fact that we are modern men and that we help out, we change nappies, we're very hands-on, is eye-opening, because I wouldn't have seen it as any other way. I've been like, of course you would do that for your child, but I do think it's evolved and changed. I think one of the books, like Dan got one of those books, it was, what's it called?
The Way of the Superior Man.
I do think
Great book, by the way.
Great book. I do think, like, being a man has changed. Like, me and you can both talk about the fact that we are very effeminate men. Would you say, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you? Sorry if I've spoken too soon for you, but we're quite effeminate men.
I think you can speak. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think you're very effeminate. I'm nice. Less effeminate.
I think that's a compliment.
Yeah, effeminate men. I think
we are surrounded by flowers here.
There's a soft, and it's beautiful. Like there's the modern man now. I think is caring. They go above and beyond. They don't necessarily see themselves on this playing field of being above.
What does it mean to you to be a man? If I said to you, be a man, man up. What am I saying? Are you surprised that people are complimenting you on being a modern man? Is that what you're saying? You just think it's a given?
I think it's. I think men. I think there's a level playing field. I think it goes back to what does it mean to be a woman? And I think those roles have shifted.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what does it mean for me to be a woman. It's just like I think the womanly roles changed. I think women now like to work. I think that they're independent people. They're not. It's no longer a man goes to work, a woman stays at home. I would challenge all those boundaries. It's no longer a woman always wants to get married and a man doesn't, and vice versa. It's no longer a woman wants kids, men don't want kids. I think that the dynamics has slowly changed. I'd say for me to be a man now is more like being a woman. It's like it's more balanced than it was.
We're more in the centre, yeah. I mean, who are your heroes?
My heroes, my heroes are quite manly men. They are normally hip hop artists.
Really?
Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay-Z's one of your heroes.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah?
I just think that they're self-made people.
Nice.
Came from nothing, created something incredible, and they were intelligent.
That's really cool.
That for me is something that is a hero.
Well, so they're quite manly, aren't they? They're quite manly men.
They're manly, but if you...
They're quite alpha, aren't they?
They're alpha, but...
Do you have to be an alpha to be a man?
If you listen to their songs, there's a lot of depth. And I think most men have depth. I think that's something for me to be a man is. I think now, being a man is having a level of depth. I don't think it used to be. Being a man before was not talking about your feelings. To me, it is like I think part of being a man is talking about your feelings. I just think there's less of a man and a woman now in specific roles. I think they are a bit more blended, and I do think the modern man is, they're sensitive. You talk about stuff. You talk about everything. What about you? What about yourself?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think it's definitely changing, and I think it's not. You're right. Maybe it's not macho. I mean, when I was in the army, being a man meant being macho, never complaining, getting on with it. Just shutting up and doing a job, like you're here to do a job, and whatever that job was, whether you're training to shoot people over the horizon or scrub the sheds. But it's different in different contexts, isn't it? Because being a man at home, what does it mean? What does it mean? It doesn't necessarily mean being the breadwinner anymore. So I've just wondered. You just had kids. It's just interesting to see how it's flipped.
Well, it has switched.
I just wonder what is the role of the man?
So I am now the breadwinner. I'm the one that makes the money. I'm the one that goes out. I have my businesses. I bring the income home, and during the day, my partner spends the majority of time at home looking after our child. But she was also financially independent herself. But I wouldn't say that was a given. It was never like that's what's going to happen.
It's a discussion now, isn't it?
It's a discussion.
So it's you almost like every relationship's different, and you can have male and feminine in men. I mean, like you said, you are very feminine.
Yeah.
And you could be with a masculine partner.
We are very feminine.
Gender is not now, without getting too into gender, because obviously that's probably quite a controversial subject.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not saying I am trans. I'm not saying I've got different gender. I just think that's not what I'm
just
saying.
Just to clarify, fine.
I'm just saying the boundary of what being a man
masculine
is.
And being feminine doesn't necessarily mean you're a man or a woman, right? they can flip and change and different for different people.
I never got on with, and I bet you didn't either, this whole culture of watching football. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, mate, Chelsea are playing tonight, let's go to the pub and watch the football. Like, I never got on with that.
No, and that's why I asked, because I would definitely have considered myself a rugby lad.
Yeah.
For like that a good 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
So whether it was whatever rugby lads did, I did it. So I think I've been from a very macho culture, and over the last maybe 5 to 7 years, I've had a bit of awakening, a softening, and tuning in more to what's going on. And I think about the men in my family. My granddad was super macho, and probably a bit of a pig in terms of how he treated women. And as it's gone down through generations, I'm getting more well-rounded. Hopefully, anyway. I like to think so. I do feel like it's a subject that I find myself having to be so careful about what I say, not to upset anyone. Like, we want to get more ladies on Property Entrepreneur, but I feel like if I say it too much, it's almost like
it always makes you think about it.
I'm making you think about it.
Or you're not a lady.
But I genuinely would like more females on the programme, because I think it balances it up. But if I start saying we want more ladies on the programme, it's like, I don't know, it feels like, I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's almost like you go too far, and it's like, we don't need. If I was female, I might be a bit like, well, we don't need any help. I'm fine. I don't know. That's how I would take it, because I know how I think.
It's difficult though, because often you meet a lot of women entrepreneurs. Like, we've got RuPaul on the board, and she talks a lot about the fact that. So I don't know, female entrepreneurs, and she talks about the fact that being a woman in business is hard.
Sure it is. I mean, business is hard anyway.
Yeah, business is hard. Being a woman in business is apparently hard. Why? I don't know why.
We don't have any insight.
No, we don't have any insight into it. But I think overall, being a man is not what it used to be. I think being a man is far more flexible now than what it used to be. I think being a man before was pretending you like football, pretending you want to I've done it before. I go on stag do's, and to me, being a man on the stag do is getting absolutely hammered and being the latest one, like being the most stupid one on the night out.
Yeah.
I'm past that now. Like, I couldn't care less. Being a man, when you're not confident in being a man, is a lot of ego. It's a lot of kind of living up to other people's expectations. It's probably doing a lot of things that you don't really want to do to kind of impress others. It's like that man pack mentality. But I do believe men now, when they get more comfortable, they've got the flexibility and freedom. There's not necessarily a definition anymore.
I think it's nice that you've definitely reinvented it. I definitely think I fit more into the traditional type of being a man. I'm definitely a masculine type.
Yeah.
I like to be the alpha. I like to be the loudest in the room. I like to be the centre of attention. I'm trying to soften it up, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm okay with that.
But you're aware of it.
But I don't want to be too far where you become
you're aware
chauvinistic.
Of it. You're aware of it. That's the reality. Like, being aware of it is like part of the battle and part of the challenge. It's
for me, it's like being strong. Yeah, being financially independent, being able to provide for people if I wanted to. I still fit in. I still see that as my optimist. Oh, there we are. Next,
first round. That was a good one.
Thank you.
My first round is, and we both know what this is. We've talked about it, but okay. I will say
we've had loads of chats. Thank God they haven't all been recorded.
To the to the audience. So, Rich Life.
Now,
This is from a podcast we both listened to recently. Is Ramit? You're gonna have Ramit.
His second name is hard to pronounce.
Ramit Sethi, something like that.
Sethi.
Ramit Sethi.
Yeah, there's a lot of podcasts with Tim Ferriss.
We both love him because he very much sits in our kind of mindset around money, around wealth, and everything associated with him. One of the things he talks about is his rich life, and the rich life isn't. And we embody this. Rich life is not, I need a Ferrari, I need X, Y, Z. Rich life is spending sometimes small, sometimes large amounts of money on things that actually add to your rich life. So it could be that you always shop at Waitrose. Could be that you every Friday you love to get a takeaway. It could be that you value getting an Uber, not owning a car.
It could be that you have a Ferrari.
It could be.
The point is, what is my rich life? I think you're trying to ask me, what are our rich lives?
That's what I want to know. So for you, what is your rich life? What are the things you'll always spend money on?
Absolutely, I'll always spend money on being somewhere hot. Like my life.
I can tell because I am sweating. I said I was going to get sunstrokes, and I want to be in the sun. Yeah.
My rich life is ideally being somewhere hot during winter, living abroad. I want a swimming pool. I want that lifestyle, which my life by design is lifestyle, hot, sport. That is it. Like, whether I have to pay to fly to and from the UK to do it, that money is irrelevant, because for me, getting to that hot destination and being by a beach, being by a pool, or being by a mountain is what I want. And for me, that money is cheap money. I don't mind. I think the other thing is, like, and we probably share this, is the convenience. I will pay my PA, my
convenience.
VA. I will do anything for convenience. If anything's easier, I'll pay for it. I on the train the other day, this sounds, I hope it doesn't cross the wrong way, but I literally I didn't want to carry my bags through the train. Normally I go first class. For some reason I wasn't going first class. I don't know what happened. And rather than carry my bags through the train, because I was late to get on the train, I was at the start and I had to go through 6 carriages. I just put my bags down. I just paid to upgrade. I just thought, whatever this price is, I'd rather sit and work and have the free time than pay, and I'll just pay the money than to walk through the carriages and bounce my bags. So anything for convenience. So my rich life is being somewhere hot, lifestyle, but also not doing what I consider to be admin tasks.
Can you give examples of maybe convenience at less of a cost? So like first class on the train. I appreciate sometimes you can upgrade for 10, 20 quid. And it's
Actually, it only turned out to be 20 quid. So for me, I have all my food delivered in London. So I don't like to cook. So I have my food delivered every single day, fresh fitness food in a bag. And I'm such a good customer. They've made me like an affiliate, and you get 50 quid free if you use my discount. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's an example.
Convenience.
Cleaners doing everything for me. How about you?
Well, one thing is, rich life. I'll spend any kind of money on my garden.
Nice.
Like that's like if I go to a garden, like I always look at a tree and it's like £150. You're like, bloody hell! But that tree's been growing for 20 years, and I'm going to own it for another 50. Like, so I spend any kind of money on my garden, on plants, anything like that. I spend any kind of money on breakfast, coffee, eating coffee out, meeting friends, and doing all that kind of stuff. Like I don't go crazy, but any kind of holiday, I like a holiday. But I'll never go for a five-star hotel. I always go for a lovely villa, and nice and chilled and kind of cheap, eating out, having the food. I'm similar to you. Convenience is massive. An assistant is big for me. Like not having to do
a personal assistant, not a business assistant.
Personal assistant.
Someone who can book your train tickets.
So you can literally say,
do your washing,
voice note.
Yeah.
This needs to happen. Like, please make this happen. Gifts. So we were talking about this one. Gifts is quite big. Like, I'm in a headspace now. And we were discussing this the other day. It's like, if you get the idea to give somebody a gift, you just give them the gift.
That's
like,
it. It doesn't matter how much it costs.
And when you have an assistant stuff like that, life becomes a bit easier because you can just say, can you order this from Amazon? This is the address. This is the note. Like, say, like, life becomes a little bit easier. But the point is, you've had this idea, and like gifts are absolutely massive.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I think what's good about what we both said is we both value experiences, not possessions. Neither one of us have said. I mean, I said this to you the other day. I think everyone should have at least one luxury in their life. Otherwise, what are you doing it for? Like, why have you grafted all this time? Or whether that is driving an Aston Martin, or flying business class, or going first class, or having an assistant, or having your food delivered,
whatever that may be.
You've got to give yourself a break.
Yeah, you do.
So,
just give him an example then, because we've talked about things we will spend money on. What are the things where other people spend money on that you go, no, I'll just never do that? Because you talked about going first class, and now somebody listening to this could go, right, well, Adam's a high flyer, goes first class, that's mental, I can't relate to that. But that's a no-brainer for you. But there'll be some things where you're like, because you're actually really frugal.
I am very frugal, yeah, but I spend money on things.
You spend money on quality as well. We were talking about it last night about how I bought myself some. I thought I did well buying myself some really nice TM Lewin shirts. Well, they're good shirts. And of course, I turned up ask you what brand of shirts you got. You got Reese. It's like 3 times the cost. So you spend money on quality.
Yeah.
But what are the things you won't spend money on?
Yeah, it's funny actually because I thought about that last night, and actually all my shirts used to be tailored, and they were like double the price. So when I looked at the Reese shirts, I thought they were cheap. But I mean, maybe I'm born with a silver spoon in my mouth.
Maybe.
What don't I spend money on? That's a good question.
What you just see is waste. I'm not going to spend it. I'm not interested.
I think cars, like buying a new car, is such a waste of money. I lost 30 grand buying my convertible Mercedes, and I enjoyed it. I don't begrudge it, but I'll never do it again. Like insurance was 2.5 grand. I think, wow, I'm just burning cash. So I don't think buying doodads, these assets that aren't assets, that's not a good, unless it's bringing you absolute joy. It's probably interesting because I'm me. I don't really know what. It's hard to look through your own lens. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but do you ever go, I'm not paying for that coffee, or I wouldn't go out for a meal there, or I would never pay?
Well, that's interesting. I was having coffee the other day in the Orkney Islands in Scotland, and some of my friends who are very, very, very wealthy didn't go to the coffee shop because it was £3.50 for a coffee. They went round the corner for £2.50, and I just thought that. I'm not sure that's me, but I get why they're wealthy. That is a fantastic mindset around being frugal.
It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have lots of clothes. Like for people who know me, I have 33 items of clothing for every season. I don't see the point in having two of anything. I like to have one thing wear it out. This is like a bit of a new thing for me, minimalism. One thing, good quality, wear it out, and then have another one. I've got 4 t-shirts.
Yeah, I was going to say,
It's the first t-shirt I bought in 6 years.
what's the principle? Isn't it like 38 items of clothing?
33 items every 3 months. It's called Project 333. Look it up if you're interested. And you have 33 items, and you just cycle through them for 3 months. And that includes your watch, your shoes, doesn't include gym, underwear, everything else.
It's another thing I'll always spend money on, health.
100%.
A gym membership, personal trainer if required, playing like
it doesn't even come into question, does it?
You know, it just doesn't. It's just something you
like,
just do.
Little things like skincare. Like I've got a really nice moisturiser for my face. I think I've only got
That's
one
interesting.
face.
So you spend money on toiletries?
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm into beauty stuff, but I basically decided I was going to have some nice moisturiser.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not going to say how much it is. It's really expensive, the moisturiser I use. But I think that's going on my face, and I've only got one face, so I like to spend money on the things that are important to me, I suppose. And I'm sure you're the same. But
yeah.
How about you? What will you refuse to spend money on? 20 seconds to go.
That's a really good question. I really struggle with spending money on things which I don't get value on. Like I love food, I love eating out, but I always like to eat out at that place which is a family business. You get like delicious food, great value, great service. When it starts to get pretentious, I'm not saying like it's not worth spending.
Like Michelin star 8-course tasting.
I'm not no, because that can be worth it. But it's that middle ground where somebody's charging 70 quid a head, and you go, and it's just a very average meal. That's what I present.
We like value, don't we?
We like value.
We want value. We don't want. We don't want to get ripped off. I appreciate value. I'll spend money on value. Right,
Boom.
Next one. Boom. Good one.
Still playing,
I think it is. Right, we're good. Okay. The price of success. So, when I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about you, I think you're a really good student. I think, like, genuinely, you are an amazing student. Everything you do, you learn thoroughly, and I just think, wow, why is Josh such a good student? And it led me to think, well, we work so hard in our lives. What have we given up, or do you think we've given? What is the price of cost of success? Because it's not free, is it? It's not easy. It's not easy to build a business over 10 years. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
I challenge the question and say, like, well, it's a different conversation, but what is success? And maybe, to be fair, that could roll into what I'm gonna go for next. Like,
everything goes, man.
What is success? Like, so for me, I've had a fair bit of what I'd call financial success, which would be, I think, like, if I define financial success, the way I looked at it was I had a job as an accountant. I quit that and thought if I could earn double this in business, I'd be like, that's brilliant. I didn't expect it. I got to that stage, I wouldn't say fast, but like relatively quickly, like probably quicker than expected, and all of a sudden it happened, and all of a sudden it just kind of rocketed. And now I look back thinking, like, I genuinely feel privileged. And I think, so yeah, in terms of the price of that.
But what's that cost you to do? Like, what did that take? For people who are listening to this and they're thinking, I wouldn't mind having my own business, having my own PA, flying all over the world. What's it taken to do that? What have you given up?
I'd say the actual financial cost of it, like the investment, the mistakes, is like inconsequential in the reality. Like that's definitely worth it.
The courses you've been on, things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
The mental cost is draining. So I'd say my tolerance to stress. Well, this thing I always frame it in a different way. Like, I was about to say my tolerance to stress now is very high, and I don't really get stressed. It's quite hard to rattle me now. Lots of things have been going wrong, but that's only because I experienced immense pressure and stress for 3 years, maybe 2 or 3 years, where you kind of, it's like a muscle you flex, and then you have this immense tolerance to stress. It's actually a positive, but in the time it feels horrendous. I think I gave up.
So you've been through the ringer, like you've stressed yourself out, you've had sleepless nights, you've absolutely grafted,
had anxiety.
Yeah, all those things. That's been the price of success.
It's the worry about not knowing.
Because that's what no one ever talks about. Like, no one ever talks about, I was worried, I was awake all night, I was so stressed, I put on weight. Do they? No one ever speaks about that.
No, they don't. I'm trying to give you a really good answer. So I think.
What's the journey been like?
I've never considered it. The journey's been the journey. It's a roller coaster. I think that's the reason why it's difficult to answer, because it's not like you just go, right, I'm going to try and be successful and I'm going to spend the next. It took me, I think, 4 to 5 years to get to a level of what I considered success, and I think part of that was achieving a level of financial success. Part of that was achieving the comfort in the fact that I knew if everything got taken away from me, I could start again tomorrow and do it half the time. So it was like, it wasn't only financially getting to that point, but it was also the experience, the confidence, the knowledge, and the skill set to know if this went tomorrow, like honestly, give me a year, I'll do the same thing again, and I'll be so much more strategic, so much more intelligent about how I did it. So I think
to give up any friends.
I think there's definitely people that have slipped out of my life. Once I went, I'm going to give you up. There's definitely people who've slipped out of my life that have kind of that kind of went by the wayside. There's some friends and some groups of friends which I've met in when I was in Scotland. It's like they did a few weekends away when and stuff, and they kind of stayed in touch, and I didn't do it. I just didn't get back to them. I was just so busy, I had so much going on, and I kind of look back at that feeling, oh, that's a shame. Like,
you had to do it. I mean, like, I definitely, when I think about me, I think it's gone in waves.
Yeah.
There's been times where I've been absolutely head down and nothing else has mattered. Like I'd say the last 3 or 4 years, 3 years certainly, probably 4 years, I've never been more focused. I think it was something around becoming nearly, like around mid-30s, and something happened in my life and I was like, right, I'm just sick of not quite getting there. And I literally gave up. I honestly gave up everything. Like, apart from probably my family, I literally cut everyone out of my life. Didn't date, like absolutely no dating probably for the last 3 years. Just absolute focus. COVID didn't help, because when COVID happened I had to double down even harder.
Yeah, you did.
And literally just nothing else mattered. 7 days a week, I just didn't care. It was the only way to get to save the business. Like, that was all. So
I've never gone that far. I've always kind of maintained that.
It's been brutal.
Yeah, I've always maintained that element of. I tell you what. Actually, sometimes, and I've never shared this with anybody before, so perfect time to do it. I get pissed off sometimes when there's a throwaway comment. So sometimes somebody, my sister, for example, and I love her to pieces, and she does it because she's my sister. She wants to rile me up. She'll just say, "Oh, Josh can pay for this. He's minted." Or like, it's okay for you because you earn X, Y, Z.
I never get that, luckily.
And she's got a business as well. And the amount of times I've tried to sit down and say, "Look, this is where we take this," and I know she's only doing it to rile me up. I know she's only doing it with my sister. She doesn't actually mean it. But sometimes I want to say, honestly, like, you used to criticise me for not coming on a night out with you and your friends. You used to say X, Y, Z. You never knew how much it used to bother me that I was feeling guilty about not going, but I knew I had to get an early night and wake up the next day. I knew I just
gave
had
up
to do
those
it.
nights out. Yeah, this is what I mean. It's what people don't realise.
The nights out, different elements, and it's just.
I mean, we were talking about. Thanks for sharing that. We were talking about the other day. Like, I literally flew to London. I was living in Barcelona in Canada. I flew to London, set up my business, moved into one of the houses, lived in a house share for the next 10 years to save money, to grow the business. I did whatever it takes. And people say to me, "Oh, I don't really want to give up my house or my this, so I don't really want to lose my car." It's like, well, then you're not going to do it then.
Yeah.
It's like, it's whatever it takes. It's whatever's needed. And that's why I am not in a rush to start another business right now, because if you don't understand that having a business is like having a baby, whatever it takes is what it needs. Otherwise, you might not make it.
It's exhausting. I don't look back on it negatively. I only.
No, definitely not. Have you ever put on weight? I mean, for me, I've got fatter a couple of times.
Maybe.
Definitely because of stress from the business.
Maybe. I'm not I think people react to stress and eat in 2 different ways. My brother eats when he gets stressed. I don't eat when I get stressed. People react differently.
I've put on weight. I've spent loads of money in legal fees on unnecessary things in business. I've lost sleep. I've definitely aged. And there's no doubt. But now it's made us who we are. Now you're right. Now I go through life with that, carrying that experience.
I struggle.
And not a lot gets to.
There are definitely painful moments. There are definitely ups and downs. But I struggle to look back on it. And I'm not saying you are looking back on it negative, but I really struggle to look back on it negatively, because now all of it, it's just like, it's so powerful. And like, people ask a question like, "Oh yeah, I experienced that. I know what you're going through. It's really, really tough." Like, I get it. Somebody comes in, they've stolen money from the company. Yeah, done that. I've experienced that with somebody stolen money. I had to try and get the money back from them. Like, people you trust, like, somebody leaves your business and you're like having and they like, you promise them the world, they promise you the world, they land you in it, they leave you in the rubbish. Been there, done that. But all of it is like, I say the thing you learn from all of that is like, when, like, what's the saying? It's all ends well. All's well that ends well. And if it's not ended well, then it's not the end.
And yeah, exactly. And now you've got the wisdom. Like, that's what experience is. When you're young, you keep hearing this experience, you think, what's that? It's everything we've just said. It's literally like, we can roll with the punches now. That's what wisdom is. It comes with age and experiences. Nice.
Good question. Tough. You're putting me on the spot on some of these.
Off we go. Next one.
Right. The next one, something I know we're a big fan of.
Round 4.
Yeah. I want to talk about being a lifestyle entrepreneur.
Oh, Okay.
What is being a So I appreciate you've just retired, you sold your businesses, I get it, but before that you were always the lifestyle entrepreneur, and I've definitely shifted into a space of lifestyle entrepreneurship too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. What does being a lifestyle entrepreneur mean? Should people be a lifestyle entrepreneur? Would you recommend it? And like how'd you get there?
Well, if you think like a lifestyle business is like the classic lifestyle business for me is like being a pub landlord, or like owning a water skiing school.
Yeah.
You know, every day you get up, you're on the lake, and that for me is an amazing lifestyle business.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like work. It suits you. You love it. You're a big drinker, so you used to have to pay to be in the pub to drink with your mates. Now they pay you. You're a pub landlord. That for me is what a lifestyle business is. I think it serves you, and for me, Capital Living was a great London lifestyle business because I enjoyed being in London. I was building wealth, and it got to pay for a lot of my expenses and everything else. So, but as soon as I realised I didn't want to be in London, I couldn't run this business. Well, I then tried to turn it into more of a performance business, or what we'd say on Property Entrepreneur, an entrepreneur level business, where I could run it completely by remote controls, all on dashboards and reports, and that was going okay, and then COVID happened. So what I realised is I then had to be back in the business, and I didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore, so I sold it. It was the right time to sell the business. So for me, it's something that where work doesn't feel like work all the time, and it's serving your life, and you're happy to be involved in it.
So work doesn't feel like work. You're happy to be involved.
You have to be. You're part of the machine.
You can do it whenever you want.
I'm not sure you always get that luxury, because I think that's more being retired than it is a lifestyle business. I think it's still a business. The problem is a lifestyle business is if you don't wake up, you don't open up, the pub doesn't open, and if you don't get on the boat because you're the only one insured on it, you can't take them out skiing. So I think a lifestyle business probably involves you more than that, and that's the reality. So how about yourself? What do you reckon?
I agree and disagree a little bit. So I mean, you know my businesses now. Do you think I have a lifestyle business or not? Because I've been away for the last week.
Yeah.
I'm not open shop, but the shop has been opened. My team are recruiting people. Like I see stuff flying in for sales, etc. I do high value work at the time I want to do it. I choose what I get in. I guess so. I choose what I get involved with and not involved with. I guess the bit that maybe is different to where we're both at is that I'm choosing to work on certain things. Like I love working on Ultimate FD, like giving people that financial support and clarity, because that's a problem I couldn't solve. With my letting agency, it's like, I guess the risk around it is like having a page on being a doctor on call. So it's all very well, and theoretically we've had a year of, 2 years of like everything go very smoothly, but then COVID could hit, and then I'm gonna have to be back in the office supporting the team.
I think that's the difference, is that it's still your responsibility, and that's why it's not like being retired. It's not when you want.
But is it a lifestyle or a performance business, would you say? It's small. It's six to
yeah.
about 10 people.
I mean, we're playing with definitions, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
I mean, I think for me, I think if you took you out of it, I don't think the business does very well for very long.
Probably right.
And I think that might be true with all businesses, but for me, if you've got a performance business, it should be less dependent on the entrepreneur.
That's a good way to
They're following Josh at the end of the day. It's the Josh show, and even though you're not there, and they've got the systems, and you have got that business, like I think you've taken that business. It's so impressive what you've done to get it to where it's at, because that's really difficult. But I think it's probably as far as you can take it. And like I said, if something went wrong or something changed or a bit of legislation came out, they're looking to you as the entrepreneur.
Yeah, I get that.
But I do think there's a difference between being a lifestyle entrepreneur and having a lifestyle business, because a lifestyle business should be almost part of your lifestyle, I think. Whereas a lifestyle entrepreneur is, I'm in it for the lifestyle. But my lifestyle might be different to yours. I've become a business entrepreneur so I can live a certain type of lifestyle. I've always taken December off. That's just what I've done, so I can build my life. But it might be different for you. Dan's lifestyle, he might be calling himself a lifestyle entrepreneur, but his lifestyle is absolutely smashing it out of the park every day of the week.
Maybe that's it. So maybe it's like I've flipped into lifestyle entrepreneur zone, where it's like I don't start work till 10 in the morning, like I finish when I want to, I take Fridays off if I want to. So if I decide not to work for a week, I've done it, I'm not in there. But it's and it's building the business which allows me to do that. So the business wouldn't run if I did that and it didn't open the door. So I need somebody that's going to open the door. I need somebody that's going to run it while I'm not there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's it. And I definitely think since I had my baby, and since like kind of I shifted my mentality. It is the business needs to serve me. It needs to prop me up, not pull me down. And I think for the first 4 or 5 years, it was not in a negative way, but it was putting me down. It was like pulling me back. And now it's in a place where maybe it's flipped into that lifestyle zone, probably similar to how you had capital living before you sold it.
Yeah.
And it pushes you up, and you basically just gives you everything you want. It gives you the money, the time, the freedom, but it can pull you back in if you're not careful.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I would say, like, you've completed it, mate. I mean, like, you know, you really have completed the game. And I've said this to you privately: enjoy it while it lasts. Hopefully, it lasts for the next 10 years. You know, now might be a really good time to look at your options, because I think that's probably as good as it gets. I think you've done remarkably well. But nothing lasts forever, and just enjoy it. I mean, I look back on those times in capital living and I think, oh my God, I can't believe I was making that much money and doing that little work. But that was the result of 10 years of hard work.
Yeah, man.
So, you know, yeah, it's a funny one. I think the pure definition is probably more on the pub landlord side. But I think what you've said is really deep about it's got to serve. If your business serves you, happy days. It's got to serve you, hasn't it?
Work to live, don't live to work.
Don't live to work.
Yeah.
It's one of my objectives. I love it. Work to live, don't live to
But
work.
it used to be, you know what, I used to, like, side note, I used to use it as a badge of honour. I remember when I was an accountant, I was working, I was doing all my exams and stuff, so I was working really hard. And I probably hadn't achieved much yet. I used to say to my friends, you work to live or live to work? And they'd always say, they work to live. And I'd always say, no, I live to work.
I love
work.
work.
It was like this badge of honour.
Yeah, I love to work hard.
No, I love it. That's why I work hard.
I've been in the office till midnight.
It's
I'm
not
going
true.
in on a Sunday. I mean,
maybe it was back then, but now it's like, no, it's work to live. Like, my plans have changed on Friday now, so I've got nothing in the diary to work. That's tomorrow, and I'm just going to spend it with my family.
It's just
like,
amazing.
It's not go, oh, what else can I do?
It's a value shift, isn't it? Now your family's top. Before, looking like you were successful and your work was top, and then before, building your business was top.
Yeah.
It's the value shift.
Do you think, so got 50 seconds left.
Yeah.
Do you think you're retired? You talked about the fact that you maybe, you're not sure if you want to start another business. Do you think you get bored?
Everyone keeps saying this to me. I would actually like to get bored. My goal pretty much is to get bored right now.
Brilliant.
So
because that's when you've had enough space from it to know what you're going to want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you gave me some good advice the other night, which was like, whatever you do, it's got to be fun. It's got to be no stress, and actually take as much time as you need. And the Greeks said you work for 10 years and take a year off. That's what the ancient Greeks said. So I think I did it when I was 26, and now I'm 37. I'm going to do it again, at least a year, a couple of gap years, get bored, and then see what happens. I don't need to start another business, but will I? Almost certainly.
When you do,
unless someone offers me a TV role, in which case I'll just be a presenter on E4 or something.
When you do, it will be, I imagine, lucrative. It'll be the business you want.
It's got to be fun, isn't it? I might start a water ski lake.
Yeah.
Wakeboarding.
Like
I've thought about it. Good. Nice.
2 rounds left.
I can't remember if that was your question or mine, but that was really fun. That was really fun.
my question.
Right, round 5.
It's you.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Diet. We talk about, me and you and I feel like we've been through a journey with this, man. Diet. Like, you've been vegan, you've been veggie, I've been pescatarian. We've both done body transformations. We got down to silly, starved ourselves for 6 months and took stupid photos with our tops off. Then we've sort of put the weight back on. Then you've slimmed down. Then you've given all the weight to me. What's it all about? I mean, you've been vegan, veggie. What have you learned about diet?
Well, what I have learned is we're both very similar, and what I have learned is
we love a pudding.
We love a pudding. Shared a pudding last night, didn't we? But then that was me done for the night. Whereas, well, I'm not going to repeat what you went and did when you got home.
Seconds and thirds.
Yes. So, what I have learned is we're very similar. What I have learned is most people have some sort of eating disorder. Like, most people have some kind of weird relationship or psychology around food because it's a drug.
Absolutely.
But it's the only drug we all need. So I think that is one
interesting
element there. And I think you're either food focused or not food focused. I think very few people are in the middle. Me and you are definitely food focused. We think about it. Like when we've had a meal, speaking for me, but I know you'll be the same. When we've had a meal, you think about when the next meal. You don't know.
I'm thinking about lunch now.
Yeah. We're going.
I mean, hopefully we are.
Can't
wait. We can hurry up. I really was.
So, like food focused. So I guess the biggest things I've learned is you can't out-train a bad diet. That's one thing.
That's a cracker.
I used to think that if I ate healthy, I could eat whatever I want and I'd be in a really good shape. You can't, because peanut butter is apparently, well, please don't quote me on this, because you could anyone listen to this, because eggs could be argued healthy or as bad as cigarettes. Like, you can do whatever you want on the internet, but peanut butter is relatively whole food, not with all the crap in it. You can eat as much of that as you want. You can't. You just get fat on it. Like, trust me, I know.
Does fat make you fat?
Calories make you fat.
Cool.
But
A lot of people listening to might still think that fat makes them fat.
Fat is just dense calories. So the reality is, if you had a tub of peanut butter here, you tried to eat, you ate it, you could probably manage it because your tummy's not going to get too full. You replace that with broccoli, like you'd have a mountain of broccoli that you just can't eat. It's just about food quantity, isn't it? Like, so filling your tummy with low calorie dense.
Do you have to cut
food.
carbs to lose weight?
No. I think
So there's no carbs for marbs. It's just bollocks, is it?
no. I did do that just for fun when I did go to Marbella.
sounds
Like
good,
for lunch, I'd said no carbs before Marbs and didn't get carbs. But yeah.
So everyone's got an eating disorder. I mean, actually, I actually think the cut gave me an eating disorder. I'm
Yeah.
not sure I had one before.
Why did you do a cut then?
Well, I'll tell you why I did a cut. It's pure vanity. So I used to be really into my fitness with CrossFit and stuff, and I would be always one of the fittest guys in the gym. And I went to Thailand. I did a CrossFit holiday there, and I was winning workouts all the time. But all the guys that I was beating were looked absolutely ripped, like Men's Health cover models, and I didn't look like that. I looked all right, and some people might say you look fine. I was like, actually, I want to get in that good nick. What do I have to do? So that's when I got RNT and Akash, and that's when I started counting macros and calories, and the muscle was there. I just had to shed the fat, and then actually I was fairly happy with the results.
Yeah.
6 months later.
You still
But-
you still got it.
Thanks.
Like,
yeah,
you've done that. You've not. You may have shifted a little bit, but it's.
I've definitely put on about 9 kilos.
Yeah, but you
since
still
then,
look good
but
for it. You've got a good muscle mass underneath.
Thank you. I enjoy working out. So, but that process, because I took it to obsessive degrees with it, and it was a competition between us and all the other board members. I definitely gave myself like a bit of a weird thing about food, but only realizing it now. And then I guess when I was stressed, I'd eat. But maybe I did that before. For me, the whole journey since I started focusing on diet has increased my self-awareness. Like, abs are made in the kitchen. If you really want to look lean, you've got to sort your diet out. Forget about the training, unless you're a complete rake. You know, the fact is, there's abs under there. There's body fat on top.
Yeah, definitely.
So abs are made in the kitchen. Like you said, you can't out-train a bad diet. And like I don't think going to extremes is healthy. I think if you're not bothered about food, and you're in one of those nice positions where you're not obsessing about it, whatever you do, don't start thinking about food. Like if you're happy with where you're at, probably I would say leave it, because I think you can give yourself a bit of an issue.
So where I'm at now is I've gone to extremes to
Vegan.
find middle ground. So I tried veganism,
Yeah.
and that was going to an extreme to find a middle. And now I have 1 or 2 pieces of meat per week. Like it's quite. Normally when I'm out at home, I never have it. I've tried vegetarianism, like similar, find a middle ground. I've tried the best around fasting, found a middle ground. So now
all that stuff. Tried all that.
I think one of the. I think like the bet, like for anybody that's looking to sort themselves out, it is just, unfortunately, and this is why this is still being discussed, is it's very personal. I when you say to carbs that you put on weight, they don't for me. I don't think they do for many other people, but I could also eat a lot of carbs and I don't feel bad. Other people do. Some people prefer a high fat diet, for some people prefer a carbohydrate diet. I think some of the principles, the main principles, like if you read any book, Tim Spector's book, Spoon-Fed, amazing book, talks about all the myths around food.
Cool, I haven't heard about that.
It's fantastic,
Nice.
like great book, and he does a lot of twin studies. So a lot of his studies are actually
amazing.
tested on twins.
Oh, what a great
But even
idea.
twins are so different
Really?
because it's your microbiome. Anyway, we won't go into it. But
Sounded like some science.
don't eat processed food.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Don't overeat. That's another thing. And find something that works for you. At the moment, I'm doing 16/8, so like 16 hours of. And I say this. Sometimes it's 14 hours. Sometimes it's 18 hours. Like right now, it's probably like 18 hours, and then I'm going to eat for another 8 hours, and and I'll have one snack of like 300 calories. I'll have a main meal of like 500 to 650 calories, and then another snack, and then a main meal in the evening. But I don't necessarily count the calories anymore either. I just kind of know.
Yeah, I'm kind of over that.
It's getting
as well.
intuitive. So you can really make yourself too food focused, which is not a good thing. But I think just being conscious of what you're eating and starting to tune into, did I feel good after that meal? Did I feel bad after that meal? You said this morning you felt a little bit hungover. We had 1 beer last night and we had dinner.
Steak, ice cream.
It wasn't
berries.
the beer, honestly. It was because you had dessert,
The food.
loads of frozen berries after. You just overdid it.
Absolutely.
It's sugar, too much fibre, and you woke up brain fog. It's like, you now know, Well, you probably put too much into that cocktail to know what caused it. But don't eat a whole bag of frozen berries before bed. It's not going to help.
I think I absolutely agree. I think it's about going on your own journey. But yeah, if you're overweight and you're looking to get in better shape, I think the thing you said about overeating, I found out the other day, this is one thing I struggle with. Like,
I know what you say. I love it.
I always eat loads. Like, buffets are like my nemesis, and it just takes so much whatever's happened to me as a kid, I need to I'm still working on the reprogramming. I'm much better. But the Japanese say before every meal, I think it's commonplace to say this, they say a little prayer equivalent, and they say, please let me stop eating before I'm full.
Yeah, never eat to get full.
And the Japanese, like, some of the longest livers in the world. And for me now, I'm like, well, actually, this is having a stress on my body. I want to live to 100. That's one of my goals. So I'm trying to have the discipline. What I did notice about myself is, with self-discipline generally, I used to be a incredibly disciplined bloke, but when I pushed it to the edge and like experienced burnout during COVID when I was rescuing the business, I had no self-discipline to call on.
Yeah.
My self-discipline reserves was 0, and I was like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not doing this? And I realised, because I haven't had enough sleep, I'm burnt out. So you've got to be in a good place psychologically, physically, haven't you? You've got to be in a good place. Sleep.
Philosophers, this is a philosophical thing, like literally about ancient Greeks, they used to talk about concept of you should eat to live, not live to eat, and they used to throw these huge banquets, and for an evening.
Huge, yeah.
No, but they used to let the servants eat them, and it was their part of their discipline not to eat any of the food, and they would just have bread and the servant food.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think it's Epicureans, back in that day. Anyway, it's part of their teaching.
Right, last one, sixth round. Let's do it, and then let's get some food.
So, it's good we kind of led on to it, because I think we've both gone through a personal journey. I was going to talk about sleep.
Cool.
Sleep, good subject.
Great subject.
We've not talked about it in a while.
Yeah.
I think you're probably... Yeah, I've gone through a journey, so I've just had a baby, so that's kind of interesting to see where I'm up to now. But also, what does sleep mean to you? How important is it to you? How are you managing it? What?
It's a great subject, because I think so. Overarching thing is, if you haven't read Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep, or listen to the Joe Rogan podcast,
or the podcast, the podcast is great.
Just listen to the podcast.
Yeah, that's all you need.
It's so good, and the key takeaway for me is that as hunter-gatherers, like Homo sapiens, our sleep must be important, because if it wasn't, how can we go into basically a coma for 8 to 9 hours a day where we're completely vulnerable to all predators?
Yeah.
It's a stupid thing to do, but that means it must be so important.
Yeah.
So if you don't think sleep's important, then
you're an idiot.
You need to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
So for me, I always slept well, never had a problem sleeping until I started my own businesses, and then the sleep started to suffer. And as I've got older, into my 30s, it's been harder and harder to get good sleep. And I did weird things like do a handstand upside down before I slept, yoga, pre-bed routines. And the reality is, as soon as I take away my stress, I sleep well. If I'm not at home and I go and stay in a hotel, I'll sleep 8 hours. If I'm at home, I'll sleep 6 or 7 hours, wake up 2 or 3 times in the night if I'm stressed. So where I am, my environment and my stress levels really determine my sleep. And it's a bit like when we talked about diet earlier. I don't think you're going to do well losing weight unless you're well rested. Because if you're hungry, some people eat when they're tired. When they're tired, they eat. So what I've learned about sleep is it's all to do with managing stress. If you manage stress well, you'll sleep better. Pretty unanimously, 7.5 to 8.5 hours sleep. My goal is to try and get 8 hours, and I'm at about 7.75 last month. I track my sleep every night. I now wear an eye mask that Tim Ferriss recommends, like a really big silk eye mask and earplugs, so I don't get disturbed in my sleep. I like it to be really cold in the bedroom, and I won't look at my phone after about 6 o'clock at night. I do put my phone away. I won't go on a laptop, I won't go on a phone unless something urgent happens. Doesn't mean I'm not watching Netflix or chilling out, but I do start to shut my brain down. I have no problems getting to sleep. I know everyone's different. When I have problems sleeping, it's when I wake up at 3 a.m.
May sound like a stupid question, but why do you care about getting a good night's sleep?
Because I've realised that if I don't sleep, it's like I'm hungover. If I haven't slept well, it's like I'm hungover. I like to perform my best all the time, and I don't want to waste a day. So why would you not be rested? When I look at all the successful people I study, like athletes, especially athletes like LeBron James, they just get their sleep. They get 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So it's just success leaves clues. If that's what successful people are doing, and LeBron James thinks it's that important, I'm going to think it's that important. So I want to be on my AAA game all the time. And like, yeah, sleep's I remember when we had cats previously, I was like, they used to wake me up and it used to really upset me. I was like, the cat is not more important than my sleep. I love the cat, but you have to be quite selfish with your sleep. I don't know. So it's absolutely high on my values now. Like,
Do you think that's learned behaviour? You've just kind of learned, when I sleep well, I do better, feel better.
No, I believe it's an absolute fundamental. It's like
You're retired now.
Matthew Walker,
So
why
who
we
cares
sleep.
if you had a bad
the
night's
science
sleep?
says it. People say I can survive off 5 hours. I just don't believe it. I think it's a short game you're playing. Play the long game. All the things I've read is you can't really make up sleep debt. You know, your brain suffers. You age. You eat more. Your concentration is not as good. That's how important sleep is.
So for entrepreneurs start their journey and they're like, right, the only way I'm going to get everything I need to get
Yeah,
done
I know entrepreneurs like it.
Yeah, wake up 2 hours earlier.
Do it. I say do it. You've got to do it.
You do it because they just need to get that done.
I think it's bad advice though. Someone like, you've got to sleep. You have to sleep 8 hours even when you're starting your business. No, when you're starting your business, like, you have to put a shift in. You have to sacrifice stuff, and one of the costs of success is less sleep.
Yeah, feel that.
And like maybe a bad diet for a bit. I mean, it's not the optimum, but that's the reality. What do you think?
So I've gone through a journey on this. Like, so one of the things I started doing actually, because you mentioned it, you've got yourself your Apple Watch on there. I went unplugged, so I stopped counting my steps, stopped tracking my sleep, stopped weighing myself, because I got, like similar to you, got a bit obsessed. Not obsessed, but it just, you know, when you go on your scale in the morning and it's gone up and you don't really know why, and it puts a bit down on your day, it's really annoying. That's not good. That's not a good way to start.
That's not a good behaviour, is it?
So obviously when I'm a child, I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to take the pressure on myself. So I went unplugged, I took my Fitbit off, and now I just and I like wearing a normal watch. Really enjoy it. So one of the things I've stopped tracking was sleep. So I've gone far less obsessive over sleep. Now before I did that though, I had a good sleep routine. Like during lockdown in particular, I was on every night 10 o'clock.
How much sleep do you get?
I'd say so. Depends on the baby now. So she sleeps very well. Haley looks after her in the night. I'll get interrupted a few times, but I'd say I go to sleep anywhere between 9:30 and 11:30 because it's just when she is crying, upset, and like we need a bit of time for ourselves. So I've had to let go of that before it would stress me out.
Yeah.
As soon as the clock gets to 9:30, I'll be like, I'm stressed. I've had to let go of that, and now I wake up anywhere between 5 and 7:30. So like I've got this window. I don't have an alarm. I think not having an alarm as well.
That is 8 hours in bed.
Roughly, yeah. It depends.
good.
Sometimes it can be 11 till 5.
Yeah.
So sometimes it doesn't work. It just depends on when Iris is feeding. Because then I'll wake up in the morning, I'll take her out for a walk where Haley will stay in. I'd say I've become less obsessive over it. I think there's a good element to that because you can get to a point where you're like, oh my, you stop enjoying your evening.
I'm tired.
Like, yeah, I've got to go to bed. Like, and some of it is psychological. So less obsessive has been good. But I'd say I can feel it sometimes, but I think what has been a saviour is no alarm in the morning. So I think that's one of the big things. So before it used to be, I'd always get to bed at the same time. Now I get to bed at different times. I don't set an alarm in the morning, so my body, so I still feel good. I don't feel tired. No alarm, just because
I absolutely agree with that. No, I don't. I only set an alarm if we're doing a property entrepreneur
if you need to be,
or a flight or something like that.
It is like no alarm.
I totally agree.
It's life changing.
It is, and sometimes when you wake up and you go back to sleep for an hour and you think, oh my goodness, thank you so much for that hour.
Exactly.
Like the best days for me, there's no doubt about it. The other day I got 9.5 hours sleep and I had the best day. I went from pillar to post.
Yeah.
I was doing this, I was doing that. I didn't stop. I was happy. We had some drinks at night, and at 11 o'clock I still walked the long way home. I was like, I've had the best day, and it was because I had 9.5 hours sleep.
Well, there's an element of guilt, I think. I've managed to let go of the guilt now. So it used to be, if I didn't wake up between 5 and 6,
it's not a badge of honour to get up at 5 a.m. and have 5 hours sleep.
It's not. Now,
if you're thinking that, I think you need to get over it.
Now I just go, oh, that's good. I must have needed that. Brilliant. Because I'm not a lazy person. I don't sleep in. Like I want to be up.
It's good for the body.
It's great for the body. So I think, in terms of sleep, my full kind of journey on this now has been, particularly those with child commitments and all of that. It's like the one biggest thing you can do is obviously your sleep routine's really important, like where you can.
Yeah.
Just get rid of your alarm clock, and I think that is the biggest, because then your body will self-regulate, and I think that is the biggest thing you could do to really like, not only make your sleep better, but also it makes you feel like you're on the weekend every day.
Yeah, you're not getting up for work, are you? I think put your phone in the drawer.
Yeah.
Like no phones in the bedroom, absolutely no idea, no TVs, and yeah, don't set an alarm. They're game changing.
Boom.
Boom. Pleasure.
Enjoyed that. 6 rounds.
6 rounds.
Congratulations.
Boom. We made it.
Very good. Thanks for your time.